In this video, I'm going to show you how to make peach and jalapeno baby back pork ribs. And for this cook, we're going to be using the new Oklahoma Joe's Marshall smoker. So we're going to get started by setting it up. Now this thing is an absolute beast. As we open it up, you can see there's heaps of cooking space in here. You could easily fit 3, maybe even 4 briskets in here. And underneath our bottom cooking grate, you'll see that there's a charcoal grate. So you could set this up as a charcoal grill if you wanted to. And then underneath that for smoking, there's your heat deflector. Now to get this started, we're going to open our firebox door, which is down the bottom here. We're going to slide our charcoal basket out, and then I'm going to get some briquettes in there. And that's a 3 kilo bag of briquettes in there. As you can see, that's just over half full, so I reckon you could fit about 5 kilos of lump charcoal or briquettes in there. But this isn't going to be a long cook, and you can run the rest of this once it runs out on some split wood. But for now, we're going to get a fire lighter in there and light it up. Then we're going to slide our charcoal basket back in. As you can see, you've got your ash pan under here as well. But for now, we're going to leave our door open and we'll give that around 10 minutes for those briquettes to start catching light. And while our briquettes are catching light, we're going to prepare our baby back pork ribs. So I'm just going to start by getting them out of the packet, and then we're going to trim them up and take the membrane off as well. Now we just want to take off any dangly bits, and while we've got a meat side down, we're going to take this membrane off. So I like to start from around the 3rd rib in. I've just got a butter knife here. I'm going to slide that up against the bone, underneath that membrane, give it a wiggle around, and then you just want to get your thumb or finger under there. And once you've got a bit of that membrane off, I like to just get some paper towel, which helps us grip that membrane, and then if you're lucky, you can get it all off in one piece. And now I like to just knock off that end bone, and I'll square up this end as well. Those 2 thinner ends will just potentially overcook or burn anyway. And then we'll flip our rack over, and then we just want to work on taking off any excess fat and silver skin. Then I'm just going to square up this thin edge on the loin side as well. And now we've trimmed that down, this is just a nice thin layer of fat here. I'm going to leave that on as it's going to help keep these ribs nice and juicy. And these are pretty much done. There's just a little bit here I'm going to trim off. And as you can see on this loin side, we've got some beautiful marbling in there. The loin meat can get quite lean. So when you're looking for a rack of baby back ribs, try to look for a rack that has some nice marbling in that loin side. And now we're trimmed up, I'm just going to season our pork ribs. First, I'm going to give them a nice light coat in yellow mustard, which is going to help our rubs stick to the meat. And for now, we're just going to give them a nice base coat of flavour. We're going to get the main peach and jalapeno flavours from the sauce we'll be making later on. And we'll also incorporate some peach and jalapeno flavour in the wrap as well. This rub combination I'm using here is going to give us some nice sweet and savoury base flavours. And both of those rubs, the Oklahoma Joe's smokers and some accessories, are available on our website at lowandslowbasics.com.au. And as you can see, those rubs are going to give us a really nice colour on these ribs as well. And after about 15 to 20 minutes, you can see our briquettes are burning nicely. Now because this smoker is so big, I like to let the briquettes go a little bit further. So now we'll shut our firebox door. We'll leave this vent wide open for now. I've also just taken that top rack out for now, as we're not going to need it for this cook. And now we can shut our lid and open up both of our top vents. And now we'll let this preheat up to just below our target temperature, which for this cook is going to be around 275 Fahrenheit or 135 Celsius. I reckon that'll take another 10 to 15 minutes to get there. All right, now we are up to temperature. I'm just going to open our firebox door, and we'll get a nice little chunk of cherry straight on the fire. And then we'll close our door and we'll get these ribs on. I'm just going to get a foil tray right underneath where our ribs are going to sit. And that's going to help make cleanup nice and easy. And now we'll get our ribs on. Then we'll shut our lid and let these start smoking away. So now our baby back pork ribs are on. All we really have to do now is worry about some fire management. I'm still getting used to the Marshall, but I'm just going to treat it like most other smokers. I'm going to use that bottom vent on the firebox door to control our temperature. If the Marshall's getting too hot, I'll close that bottom vent down a little bit. If I need to increase temperature, then I'll open it up a little bit. Fire management is going to be different every time you use your smoker. How windy it is, the outside temperature, how much meat you're smoking, the type of fuel you use are all going to play a factor in how you control your fire. But in the Marshall, you've got a couple of options. If you fill that charcoal basket right up, you'll get around 5 to 6 hours burn time, or you can actually run this smoker on log splits as well. So what I'm going to do is once our fire starts dying down, I'm going to keep it going with some log splits. And then with our baby backs, we're simply just going to let them go for around 2 hours until they develop a really nice color. I want that rub to set on that meat as well, and then we can look to wrap them up. All right, we're 90 minutes into this cook. Our temperatures have actually been holding really nice. Let's have a look at these ribs. These are starting to get some really nice color to them. The rub is setting nicely on that loin side. Still needs to come along a little bit on that belly side. So we're gonna let these keep going, but I reckon our fire's gonna start dying down in the next hour or two. So I'm gonna start preheating some logs so they'll catch fire nice and easy. So we'll come back once we're ready to wrap these up. And after a bit over 2 hours, I can see our temperature starting to die down. So I'm just gonna open this up, get one of our log splits out. We'll open our door up and get our log split in there, and we'll give that a minute or so to catch light. And don't make the same mistake I did when I was seasoning this smoker. I left a bit of the log hanging out. The whole log caught fire because I forgot about it, and then I burnt some of the paint. Doesn't really matter at the end of the day, it's just going to add some character. And now that log is burning away nice and clean, we'll shut our firebox door, and then we can get ready to wrap these ribs up. So on 2 layers of foil, I've just got a nice little handful of brown sugar. Then I'll lay 3 nice little slices of butter down. I'll thinly slice 1 green jalapeno. We'll get half of that down. And then I've just got a jar of peach slices. We'll get 5 or 6 slices down. And then we'll get our pork ribs meat side down on top of that. I'm just going to squish those peach slices down with our pork ribs. And then we'll do the same to the underside of our ribs. So brown sugar, butter, and sliced jalapeno, some peach slices. Then I'll use a good half cup of that juice in this jar as well. Now we'll wrap these up nice and tight. And get them back in the smoker. And we want to get them in, meat side down. And at this stage of the cook, once your baby back ribs are wrapped up in foil, feel free to finish them off in your oven if you wanted to save on split wood or charcoal, but I'm going to keep them going in the Marshall so I can continue playing around with it. And all I'm going to do with our baby back ribs is let them go for around another hour before I check on them for probe tenderness. All right, so these pork ribs have been wrapped up for a bit over an hour now. Let's check on them for probe tenderness. Now straight away I can feel these are a little bit tight. They're at about 85 degrees Celsius or 185 Fahrenheit. I want these to get to around 205 Fahrenheit or 96 degrees Celsius. So we're going to shut our lid and let these go for another 30 minutes or so. All right, and after about 45 minutes more, I reckon these pork ribs are going to be ready. So these have had 2 hours unwrapped and about 2 hours wrapped. Got some nice drawback on them bones. And I can just feel already these have got a really nice bend to them. And these are probing much nicer as well. We are right around that 96 Celsius or 205 Fahrenheit internal mark. So I'm just going to drop that foil down into that tray. While we get our ribs, just want to get those jalapenos and peach slices off of the underside. We'll just let that drip off for a moment. We'll flip our ribs back to meat side up. We're going to use all of that goodness in that foil wrap to make a little sauce to baste over our ribs. So we'll push that tray back underneath and then we'll shut our lid to get some colour back on our ribs while we make this sauce. So nice and easy. I'm just going to get a jug and then I just want to get everything from that foil wrap into that jug, and then I'm going to add a little bit of our Hookshot whiskey jalapeno barbecue sauce just to thicken it up, and then we just want to blitz that all up, and then you can have a taste, and that is bloody awesome. But adjust it to your liking, and now we're going to baste our ribs. So let's open our smoker back up and we're just going to baste over this beautiful sauce, and now we'll shut our lid and give that sauce 5 minutes to set. And once your sauce is set, you can either give them another baste. I'm going to get these right out and onto a chopping board. And now all I need to do is slice them up and we can have a taste. Even this end rib, so nice and juicy. That's good. A nice mild heat on those ribs, some really good flavours coming through. Maybe a little bit heavy on the jalapeno flavour. Maybe next time I'll add some more peach juice or peach slices into the sauce. And as you can see, we're left with a nice clean bone. So there you have it. There's how to make some peach and jalapeno baby back pork ribs. If you've got any questions, don't hesitate to ask them in the comments below. I'll put everything you need to know down in the video description. While you're there, subscribe to our channel. It really helps us out. Like this video. But for now, that's the end. So thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.